Welcome back to Chronicles on the Focus, the podcast that delves into the fascinating lives of history's most captivating figures. I'm your host, Bob, and with me as always, is the inimitable Alice.
Hi everyone. And Bob, today's subject is a real treat. A man who's made millions giggle, but whose life was anything but a children's storybook. We're talking about the one and only Roald Dahl.
That's right, Alice. Roald Dahl, the master of the macabre, the creator of Oompa Loompas and the Grand High Witch. But before he penned those fantastical tales, his own life was quite the adventure. Born in Wales in 1916, to affluent Norwegian parents, Dahl's early years were marked by both privilege and tragedy. His father, a shipbroker, passed away when Dahl was just 3, followed shortly by his sister. Talk about a tough start.
Absolutely. And the impact of those early losses seems to have shaped his storytelling. There's a bittersweet melancholy in so many of his books, a subtle undercurrent of sadness woven into the whimsical adventures. Even his childhood pranks, like the infamous Great Mouse Plot of 1924, where he and his friends planted a dead mouse in a jar of gobstoppers at the local sweet shop, hint at a mischievous spirit grappling with something deeper. That mean old shop owner, Mrs. Pratchett, clearly inspired Miss Trunchbull, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And speaking of inspiration, his time at boarding school, first at St. Peter's and then Repton, was, to put it mildly, less than idyllic. He endured brutal hazing and described an atmosphere of cruelty. That experience, coupled with his early losses, heavily influenced his writing. His hatred of cruelty and corporal punishment is palpable in his stories. Did you know that one of his headmasters, Geoffrey Fisher, later became the Archbishop of Canterbury? Talk about irony.
Oh, the irony is delicious. But it's not all doom and gloom. Before becoming a literary legend, Dahl was a fighter pilot in World War II. He flew with the RAF and even served as an intelligence officer. Now that's a resume that would make any character in one of his books jealous.
His wartime experiences are fascinating, and somewhat underplayed in discussions about him. He was a real-life hero before he became a literary one. His post-war career as a writer is, of course, legendary. From James and the Giant Peach to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, he created a whole universe of unforgettable characters and stories that have captivated generations. But, beyond the famous ones, did you know about the BFG? It is one of my favorites.
The BFG is indeed a masterpiece, a truly whimsical story with an underlying theme of friendship and acceptance. Dahl's works for adults are equally captivating, full of suspenseful twists and darkly comic elements. His short stories, often featuring unexpected endings, showcase his mastery of narrative. And let's not forget the incredible commercial success his books have sold: over 300 million copies worldwide.
An absolute titan of children's literature, and even in death, a top earner. His legacy extends beyond the pages of his books. His granddaughter, Sophie Dahl, is a model and writer, carrying on the family tradition of storytelling. Roald Dahl's life, from his privileged childhood to his wartime service and literary success, is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a reminder that even the darkest of experiences can fuel the most imaginative of creations.
Absolutely, Bob. And that's all the time we have for today's Chronicles on the Focus. Join us next time for another captivating story.